Hi everyone, this is Gaurav and in the welcome to all in this control system segment of video lecture series. And today we'll be taking a topic that is of multiple input and multiple output. So in this particular segment, we will be getting to know how such numericals can be solved, whereby we have to decouple multiple input, multiple output system into single input, single output system, as it is the prerequisite to get the transfer function. Okay, so let's take a numerical and let's see how to solve such numerical and how to reshape the blocks so that we can get a transfer function. Okay, so moving ahead towards the next slide, and this slide is basically, if you just see, there is a numerical on your screen, and in this numerical it is very essential to understand that how many inputs are there and how many outputs are there. And when we get to know these are the input, these are the outputs, then we have to look after what type of transfer function we have to find. Okay, so in on your screen right now you can see this thing, that we have to take care of C1 by R1. We have to calculate your transfer function, which is basically C1 by R1. Okay, in the first case, and in the second case we have to calculate the transfer function, that is C1 by R2. Okay, likewise, in the third case we have to calculate a transfer function which is basically C2 by R1. Okay, and in the fourth case we have to calculate the transfer function, that is C2 by R2. And from this particular segment of the figure we have to analyze this thing. So these are the input, R1 is the input, okay, R2 is the input, likewise C1 is the output, and C2 is the output. Okay, so as I said earlier, that we have to decouple this multiple input, multiple output system into single input and single output system. Okay, you just observe one thing. Suppose if we consider a case one, okay, if we consider a case one, what we have to do, we have to consider a output, that is C1, and a input, that is R1. Only one output and one input. Likewise in all other cases, in case 2, in case 3, and in case 4, we are considering only one output and one input, one output, one input, one output and one input. But while considering single input, single output, what will happen to the other inputs and other outputs? Those will be deactivated, and those values of those particular outputs or input would be 0. Okay, now let us consider a case 1. Okay, let us consider a case 1 whereby we have to calculate a transfer function, that is C1 by R1. Okay, so we have to calculate a transfer function, that is C1 by R1. What we will do in this case? Okay, so when we have to calculate the value or the transfer function C1 by R1, only C1 and R1 would be activated. It means the R1 would be in the system and C1 would be in the system. Okay, and the value of R2 and the value of R2 would become 0. Okay, likewise the value of C2 would also becomes 0. Okay, so R1 would be there in the system, C1 would be there in the system, and how this reshaping of block diagram can be done when we are considering R1 and C1. Okay, let's see. In the next slide we will be looking after this segment. So case 1. Okay, so firstly I just remove the annotations and then we will take this particular concept. So in case 1, what we will do, we will just look after what actually the input and outputs are and how the reshaping of the block diagram takes place. Okay, so here is R1 is there and C1 is there. Okay, and you just see what we have done. When we are considering R2 as 0, okay, when we are considering R2 as 0, what will happen? Here we have to analyze that how this minus 1 comes into the picture. Okay, how this minus 1 comes into picture. Let's see how this minus comes into the picture. In the previous slide, whereby a parent circuit is there, you just see over here you just see a minus sign is there. Over here minus sign is there, and that is the reason we are placing -1 out of there. Even though R2 value would be 0, R2 value would be 0, but this minus sign will certainly comes into the picture, and overall the signal flow would be over here, that is -1. It means G2 will get multiplied by -1. Okay, so next the circuit or you can say a block which we have to take care of. So now you understand how this -1 comes, and then you can easily understand how the signal flow is there. Okay, now how this minor loop is formed, this is very essential. If you are able to form this minor loop from this particular cons concept of the block diagram, you can easily deduce an expression of C1 and R1. Okay, now let's see how this minor loop is formed. Okay, this is the essential part to understand. Just take a close look by your own. Once you have the close look by your own, you can easily understand how this circuit can be framed. Okay, take a close look and how this minor loop is formed. Then I will proceed on what actually the C1 by R1 is all about. Okay, so let's take a close look and then we will further move ahead. So now coming to this particular slide, and let's see how this minor loop is formed. Now see, over here R1 is there, over here R1 is there, and in the parent diagram R1 is there. Okay, fine. After this summing block, what actually the block comes? G1. So what we have done, we have written G1. Okay, we have written G1, and after that G1 there comes C1. We have written C1, that is fine. And after that C1 we have to take care of this takeoff point. Okay, now from this takeoff point over here again we have drawn a takeoff point. Fine. Now we will just see how many signals are connected to this takeoff point and how these takeoff point signals are coming to this particular terminal having negative feedback. Okay, so we will try to start from this particular point. Okay, we will try to start from this particular point and we have to reach this particular point. Okay, so you just see, you just observe how many points basically comes into the picture when we start from this particular terminal. Okay, from this particular terminal. So I am starting, suppose, so first block will come G3. Okay, okay, so first block would come, that is basically G3, and after G3 signal just moves ahead and then it is multiplied by -1. It means G3 is getting multiplied by -1. Okay, so G3 is getting multiplied by -1, then G3 becomes minus G3, and then minus G3 is getting multiplied by G2. Okay, minus G3 is getting multiplied by G2. Okay, fine. Now after that signal becomes minus G3 G2, then minus G3 G2 getting multiplied by G4, and signal becomes minus G3 G2 G4, and this particular signal moves like this and coming to this particular summing point. And same phenomenon is happening over here in the minor loop. You just see, I have directly written it over here, minus G2 G3 G4, and they are coming to this summing point having negative sign, so I have placed negative sign over here. Okay, so I guess you have understood the concept. Again I am just recalling this concept, how this particular terminology comes into the picture. Okay, how this terminology come into the picture. Again we are starting from this particular point. Okay, so first signal would be what? G3. Okay, now G3 is getting multiplied by -1, so it becomes minus G3. Then it is further getting multiplied by G2, then it becomes minus G3 G2. Then further minus G3 G2 is getting multiplied by G4, then it becomes minus G3 G2 G4, and then it is coming and proceeding towards this summing point, and we are getting minus GT minus G2 G3 and G4, and coming to this particular point. Now we got the simplest form of the closed loop system, and I told you we have to obtain the transfer function. Then we have to see what type of feedback it is. So it is a negative feedback, and you know the formula for the negative feedback in the previous slides I just told you. For to obtain the negative feedback, we have to analyze what is GS. So this particular function or this particular block, it represents basically what? This represents basically GS. Okay, and what is this particular block? This particular block will behave as a HS. So this particular block will behave as a HS. Fine. So when you got an idea what actually the GS is, what actually the HS is, you can directly take care of that formula, which is basically what? C1 by R1 equals to GS upon 1 plus GSHS. And by keeping the value of GS upon 1 plus GSHS, you will get a transfer function like this. Okay, so this is what the case 1. I hope that I get to this particular case. Now considering the another case, and in another case again one output would be there and one input would be there. Okay, so let's remove the annotations and let's consider another case, that is case number 2. Okay, and let's see what actually the case number 2 tells us about. Okay, fine. So let next move to the case number 2. Again in case number 2, what actually happens? Hereby you can see one thing, very essential and very important thing, that hereby what I did, we are just taking R2 active and C1 active. Okay, because we have to obtain the transfer function, that is basically the ratio of output, which is C1, and input, which is R2. Okay, so while obtaining the transfer function, we have to look after what type of output we have to consider and what type of input. Those two variables would be certainly be active. So over here what I did, I have considered C1 as active and R2 as active, and R1 would be 0 and C2 would be 0. Okay, and that is the reason I just put value of R1 over here, that is equals to 0. Okay, fine, that is equals to 0, and likewise I put the value of C2 over here, that is equals to 0, that is equals to 0. Now fine, now again our motive is to make a block diagram or reshape the block diagram into a simplest form. Okay, now if we have to obtain this particular block diagram, again what we will do, we will start from here because we have to take care of the input. So R2 is the input, so I have written R2 as the input over here. Okay, so from R2 we will start and we will come to the feedback and the output, and we will just make a minor loop out of it, and then we will apply a closed loop negative feedback system or a positive feedback system as per our requirement. Okay, so over here we will start from R2. Okay, then R2 over here I have written. Okay, after R2 a signal comes like G2. Okay, so G2 is getting multiplied by G4. Okay, now G4 is getting multiplied by -1. Okay, now we will see how this -1 comes into the picture. This is the essential part, how this -1 come into the picture. If we just move ahead and see the parent diagram from where this particular case is considered, so in that particular diagram we will certainly see over here, if you just see where R1 is associated, in this case over here you just see signal is minus. Okay, so when R1 would become 0, the signal will certainly getting, G1 will certainly getting multiplied by this -1 value. I hope that you got a point for this. So let's move ahead and take that case into consideration. So this is the case 2. So what I was discussing, I just let's again remove these annotations and start from beginning and try to analyze how this minus G1, G2, G4 comes into the picture. So I have said that I have started from R2. I have started from R2, and then moving ahead, G2 comes into the picture. After that G2 is getting multiplied by G4, and G4 is getting multiplied by -1. So what it would become? G2 G4 multiplied by -1. It means minus G2 G4 multiplied by G1, and that is something which I have written over here, minus G1 G2 G4. And after that C1 will come, so I have written C1. Now from this particular takeoff point, we will come to the picture what actually the feedback is. So feedback path would be what? G3. G3 is getting multiplied by, okay, I think after G3 nothing is there and it is directly moving towards the summing point. So in the feedback, HS would basically become only G3. Okay, the feedback only becomes G3. Okay, so this is HS over in this case. HS is basically G3, and GS is basically what? GS is basically what? Minus G1, G2 and G4. Fine. I guess you got an idea of case 2 as well. And now you can apply a formula of negative feedback, because over here we have considered a negative feedback. So for negative feedback, you can directly use the formula of transfer function, that is C1 by R2 would be what? GS upon 1 plus GSHS, and put the value of GS and HS, you will get an answer. Now, there are two more cases left. So I am sharing those concepts as well, and you just try to make these block diagrams and reshape these block diagrams by your own. And just if you do face any sort of problem in multiple input multiple output, just reframing and reshaping the block diagrams and identifying what is the forward path, that is basically GS, and what is basically the feedback path, that is basically the HS. And do consider the values, how summing points are attached. Okay, so those values are very considerable. Now in case 3, let's move to case 3. So in the case 3, now what actually is happening in this case 3? Again, what we have to do, we have to calculate a transfer function. Over here we have to calculate the transfer function. Now what you have to do, you have to observe what type of transfer function you are calculating. So here the output would be basically C2 and input would be R1. It means C2 would be active and R1 would be active, and other input and output would be 0. So what I did here, I just said C2 would be active and R1 would be active. And again, simple concept is there. We will just put the value of C1 over here, that is basically 0. Okay, fine. So C1 would be 0 and R2 would be what? 0. R2 would be what? R2 will also become 0. Now again reshaping the diagram. So we have to find the simplest minor loop. We have to find this simplest minor loop, and we will see what actually the GS and what actually the HS. Okay, so we have to identify what actually the GS is and what actually the HS is. Now let's move ahead. So over here you just see G1 come into the picture. After R1, G1 comes into the picture, and when G1 is getting multiplied by G3, so it becomes G1 G3, and then it is getting multiplied by -1, and further moving ahead it is getting multiplied by G2, and then output is coming. It means in the forward path, how many blocks are coming? G1 is coming, G3 is coming, and afterward it is getting multiplied by -1, and then it is getting multiplied by G2, and then further we got an output, that is C2. It means the forward path GS values would be what? G1 multiplied by G3 multiplied by -1, okay, multiplied by G2, and that is something which I have written over here. Okay, in the forward path, if you just see, that is something which I have written over here, minus G1, G3 and G2. And now we have to see what actually the feedback path. So here is the takeoff point. Let's move ahead, and after C2 we have to see what actually the feedback. So feedback, You just see in the feedback what actually is coming. G4 is coming, and let's see after G4, after G4 anything is coming. No. So G4 is the only gain which is considering, and further this gain is moving ahead towards the summing point, and that is what I have drawn over here. So G4 is coming like this, and G4 is coming to the summing point and is making this closed loop system a negative feedback system. And again, this is the GS and this is the HS, and you have to apply a formula of closed loop negative feedback system, that is GS upon 1 plus GSHS. Okay. So this is the case 3, and likewise you can find out the case number 4, the last case of this particular multiple input multiple output system. And again, the reframing and reshaping of the diagram is essential. So here is the case number 4, and in this case it is very easy, and again the concept is same. Hereby we have to take C2 and R2 into consideration, and other output and other input would be deactivated, and that is something which I have written over here. Okay, fine. So again there would be an input that is basically R2, and there would be output that is basically the C2. We have to identify what actually the GS and what actually the HS. These two we have to identify. Okay, fine. These two which we have to identify. How we will identify? We will just see what actually the block diagram is all about. Okay. So again, the same concept is there. We have to keep the values of basically R1, that is equals to 0. Fine. That we understood that we have to deactivate this source. So R1 would be 0. Likewise, C1 is also 0. So we will put the value of C1 also 0, and only R2 and C2 would be in the picture. Only R2 would be there and C2 would be in the picture. And only thing which what we have to do is to identify what actually the GS and what actually the HS. Okay. Or if we have if we just further find out these values, what actually see when we move ahead from R2, and in the forward path only one gain is coming, that is G2. So I have written GS equals to G2, and after that forward gain again a takeoff point comes into the picture, and we have to see what actually the feedback path is all about. So in the feedback path, G4 blocks come into the picture. Okay, and G4 block is getting multiplied by -1, so minus G4, and then it is getting multiplied by G1, and then it is getting multiplied by G3, and then it is reaching to the negative point, and it is reaching to the summing point, and further we can deduce this expression for the block, that is minus G1 multiplied by G3 and G4, and we get a minor loop which is the simplest form, and we again just use the formula of closed loop system, that is the transfer function, and transfer function is always basically represented by the Laplace of output with respect to Laplace of input and keeping the initial condition 0. And hereby when we are finding out the GS and HS, and we can use a negative feedback formula, that is GS upon 1 plus GSHS, and we can directly put the value of GS, which is basically the G2, and HS, which is basically minus G1, G3 and G4. Once you keep these values, you will get an expression like this. Okay, so here is the basic concept. There might be some mistake while or there might be some error if you find while looking after this video. Please let me let me know in the comment box. And if you do have some sort of problem in any such numerical whereby multiple input multiple output persist, so try to decouple it into single input single output system and try to redraw it and find out the GS, what actually the forward path and what actually the feedback path. And it is very easy to look after the feedback path when you are considering a takeoff point. Okay, everywhere somewhere you will see a takeoff point is there. In this case over here it is there, and this will certainly give you a picture of what actually the feedback is all about. Okay, so thanks for watching and stay tuned. I will be coming in more videos on different topics of unit 1 and further moving ahead. So thanks for watching and thanks for patience. Have a good day.